Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing well. Today's topic of self-care is on bringing the focus back to breathing and how we can address conscious breathing through the creation of these breathing beads. There are certain breathing techniques that can really help calm the nervous system, and I'll go over those in just a little bit with you. But first, this art directive is about creating or curating the beads that you can use for counting breaths as often as you may need. In my experience, it takes about 4 to 5 minutes of engaging in mindful breathing in order to feel calm and experience a reduction of anxious feelings in your body. Honestly, after about the second or third breath, I already will begin to feel better, but for the full spectrum of effect, I would say about 4 minutes is what you're going to want to shoot for. I used to be a little bit skeptical about the importance of conscious breathing, and now it's pretty well ingrained as part of my life, but I've been able to use this breathing technique to get myself through uncomfortable, lengthy dental procedures, where in the past I probably would have needed a little bit of medication. I now am actually able to use breathing to keep my nervous system regulated. But it does take practice. And without practice in cultivating the conscious awareness, it's difficult to remember in the moment to focus and redirect your attention to your breathing. Whereas if you practice regularly, this kind of becomes more second nature. And it'll become more habitual and easy to recognize when you might need to focus your attention on breathing. The addition of having something visual, along with the memories that you'll have of this creation process, really help to bring breathing to the forefront of your mind. Examples of when you could use this would be if you're experiencing racing thoughts or feeling really overwhelmed and physically or emotionally stressed. If you ever wake up in the middle of the night and your thoughts are just racing and it feels like it's a TV that somebody else has the remote to, that would be a good time when you could engage active breathing and be more conscious with your breath work. So these beads do look a little like prayer beads, which I suppose you could double up the meaning if you wanted to. So you could string them in a way where it does create a closed circle, but I choose to keep mine open as a strand because I just like it that way. But as both a visual and a tactile person, I find it's extremely helpful to have something for me to hold on to that keeps me grounded, and it also keeps time for me. So I don't really have to think about how many more breaths I have to take. I just move to the next bead until I'm done. The intention is to engage in the process of making something, to personalize it for yourself, but also to give it some meaning. If you want it to be shells, or if you want it to be like clay or paper beads, you can really get creative with this. I am just using wood beads that I purchased at the store. I would suggest using anywhere from 18 to 22 beads as a way to keep time for yourself. I am going to use 21 beads because 21 is my favorite number, and that's one way that I can personalize this for myself. You can also use larger or smaller beads. Of course, there really is no right or wrong way to do this. And again, even if you're just purchasing these beads and use them straight out of the package and do nothing more to them, you're still the one that's going to be stringing them along, and you still made the selection process. So don't feel bad if that's as much as you want to give to this. You're still going to be the one to make it, so you still have that retention of your memory and the intention behind the actions. So I'd say it still counts. I chose to paint my beads with acrylic paint that I already had mixed up from another project I'm working on. I just like the colors. When you string up your beads, you'll want to create a knot on one end and then add your beads, and then you're going to leave a little bit of additional room at the end so that you can slide a bead over and not lose your space. And then feel free to get creative. Again, you can make tassels or you don't have to. I decided to make some tassels for the ends here, just, for fun, and it kind of gives me something to fidget with if I'm having a hard time concentrating, which that happens. And then Essentially, to use these beads, you're just going to hold on to your first bead and you take a breath. And then as you complete your breath cycle, then you move to the next bead and you just work your way through the strand. There are two types of breathing techniques that I find helpful. So the first is called box breathing or square breathing. And that involves taking a breath, holding the breath, releasing your breath, and holding your breath before beginning a new breathing cycle. And in this pattern, you hold for 4 counts. So it would be in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4. And so that takes 16 seconds for 1 breath. And then if you're practicing your square or box breathing, you would do that for the remainder of the beads. The second technique is called a slow release type of breath. And this would be where you breathe in and then you breathe out for twice as long. So in this case, I have found that breathing in for 4 and out for 8 is kind of like my sweet spot, but it might be different for you. So in that breath technique, it takes 12 seconds to cycle through 1 breath, and then again, you would go through the remainder of the beads. Both techniques work really well. I personally like to use the box or square breathing if I'm feeling tense or anxious as a way to just relax. Whereas I might use the extended release to slow down racing thoughts or to bring myself down from an activated emotional state. So feel free to get creative with your beads, personalize them in any way you wish, just make them. And that's what I have for you today. I hope this was helpful and inspired a new way that you can incorporate art and creativity into your wellness through self-care, mindfulness, and relaxation. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a lovely day.